Another match where the lines tend to look a little bit funny. I don't think this one is going to be as exciting as the Cruz Azul match, but nonetheless, we have it. Let's see what we can find out of this game. We got Puebla at home and Mazatlan coming in. I think when Mazatlan goes anywhere else in Mexico that's not in the north, I think they tend to struggle. I say the elevation has a lot to do with it. Both of these teams not being able to find wins, struggling to put things together. Mazatlan is the better scoring team, at least at the moment, but most of that scoring has been at home. When they're away from home, they're a completely different team. I could say the same thing about Puebla, but why Puebla is heavy favored in here, I didn't think they would be minus anything against anybody. They haven't won a match, but they can't keep losing. They're eventually going to win one. And with Mazatlan being a team that struggles outside of Mazatlan, in other places with dramatically more elevation, I think this is one where Puebla takes it. It's either do or die now for Puebla. I think they have to win one. So, I'm not in love with the play, but I'm gonna have to take Puebla money line for me here. They have to win one eventually. So does Mazatlan. I just think Mazatlan wins one at home in some other game. I don't think this is the spot. Both of these teams are pretty prone to getting into some high-scoring games. Mazatlan has already seen themselves in a couple of high-scoring games. Puebla, not so much yet. I think this is one where the score gets going higher. Both teams to score. I would play it too. It's at minus 180. I don't really like to play it at that big of a price. You like it as a parlay piece, use it as a parlay piece. But for me, it's going to be Puebla on the money line, and I think this goes at over 3, or we at least get a push. We get something like a 2-1, whatever. We get our money back. But I think this is going to be I would say something like a 3-1 game. I think Puebla finds something to do here. There's a reason they're heavy favorites. Sometimes when you see weird lines like this, it could tell you either go on or go off. I know it's not much information, but Puebla, who hasn't won a single game, is favorited here. I'm going to have to take it. If it's a trap, so be it. But I remember last week, if you guys follow NBA, two horrible teams were playing. I remember it was the Charlotte Hornets and the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons arguably had the worst record, a worse record than the Charlotte Hornets, and Detroit was favored. And I happened to win that one. I was on Detroit, and luckily I got the win on that game. That game is kind of how this game reminds me of. Both of these teams are horrible, yet one is kind of a more heavier favorite than you expected. That's what this kind of reminds me of, and I'm going to stick to it. I got a feeling Puebla's going to win one. I got a feeling it's not as much evidence, but what is evident is that Mazatlan is not the greatest outside of Mazatlan. So give me Puebla. Both home teams for Friday. I'm taking both home teams. Keeping it simple.